Welcome back ZE Coins. Today, we're diving into the top 7 most valuable Washington quarter dollar coins ever minted. These quarters might just be sitting in your pocket change or an old coin jar. Let's uncover the stories, the value, and why these rare coins are worth a lot of money. We're diving into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1968 Washington quarter dollar. You might think it's just pocket change, but don't be fooled. Some of these coins are worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, and today we're going to explore exactly why. That will break down its history, its features, the varieties you should watch for, and most importantly, what they're worth today in the collector's market. So let's get started. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It quickly became a standard part of U.S. coinage and has stayed in circulation ever since. But 1968 marked a turning point for the series. Just a few years earlier, in 1965, the United States Mint made a major decision. Due to a nationwide silver shortage, the government removed silver from dimes and quarters. That's right, before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver. After that, they switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition. So by 1968, the Washington quarter no longer contained silver, but that didn't stop it from becoming valuable in the years to come. In fact, some of the rarest and most valuable Washington quarters come from this era, and the 1968 quarter is no exception. Let's talk about the 3 versions of the 1968 Washington quarter. These are identified by where they were minted. The first is the Philadelphia Mint, which in 1968 produced coins without a mint mark. The second is the Denver Mint, marked by a small letter D just to the right of Washington's ponytail. And the third, and most valuable, is the San Francisco Mint, marked with an S. Now here's where things get interesting. The 1968 Washington quarters were not made for circulation. They were only made as proof coins, which means they were specially struck for collectors. These coins have extra sharp details and a mirror-like finish. So let's break down the value, starting with the 1968 Philadelphia quarter, the one with no mint mark. In circulated condition, this coin is usually worth just its face value, 25 cents. However, in uncirculated or mint state condition, the value can increase. A 1968 no-mint quarter graded MS65, which means it's in gem uncirculated condition, can be worth between $15 to $30. If it's graded higher, say MS67 or better, that price can jump to over $200. These are not easy to find, and that's where the value comes in. Now for the 1968 D quarter from the Denver Mint. This coin also has no silver, but it's slightly more common in high grades. In circulated condition, again, it's worth face value. But if you have one in mint state, say MS65, it's worth about $10 to $25. The real value comes in at MS67 or higher, where certified coins have sold for over $500 at auction. One 1968 D quarter graded MS68 by PCGS even sold for nearly $3,000. Yes, you heard that right, $3,000 for a modern quarter. Next, let's look at the 1968 proof quarter. These coins were only included in proof sets, so they weren't meant for everyday use. That makes them naturally more preserved and shiny. In PR65 condition, they're worth around $5 to $10. But if your proof coin has a deep cameo finish, meaning there's a strong contrast between the frosted design and the shiny background, that value can double or triple. And high-grade proof coins with deep cameo can sell for as much as $75 to $100 or more, but the real jackpot comes from rare errors. That's right, coin errors can turn an ordinary coin into a gold mine. Some 1968 quarters were mistakenly struck on silver planchets left over from previous years. These are extremely rare, but if you ever find one, you could be holding a coin worth thousands of dollars. Always weigh your 1968 quarters. A normal clad coin should weigh about 5.67 grams. But if yours weighs around 6.2 or 6.3 grams, it might be silver, and that's when you need to have it authenticated. Another rare error is the double die. This is when the coin's design is struck twice slightly off from the original strike. It creates a doubling effect, most commonly seen on the lettering. There are a few known double die examples from 1968, and collectors will pay a premium for them. Now let's talk about current market values in 2025. Most 1968 quarters in average condition still trade for face value. That's no surprise. But collectors are hunting for the high-grade, certified examples. In auction houses like Heritage or Great Collections, a 1968 D quarter in MS68 condition can fetch anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000. That's a huge jump from just a few years ago. Even MS67 examples are seeing steady demand, regularly selling for $200 to $400. As for the 1968 S-proof coins, prices are holding strong for deep cameo grades. A PR69 DCAM quarter can bring in $50 to $100, depending on the market. Lower grades go for less, but they're still in demand, especially if you have the full original proof set. So what does this all mean for you? Check your old change jars. Look through those proof sets your grandparents gave you. Examine every 1968 quarter you come across, and learn how to spot the valuable ones. Coins with high grades, rare errors, or proof finishes can be worth a surprising amount of money, and always remember, coin collecting isn't just about profit. It's about holding a piece of history in your hand. The 1968 Washington quarter represents a shift in American coinage, a reflection of the economy, and a moment when silver disappeared from our everyday money. Yet, some of these coins still shine, both literally and in value. If you've ever gone through your pocket change and stumbled across a 1979 Washington quarter with the Denver Mint mark, you might want to think twice before tossing it back in with the rest. While it may seem like just another ordinary coin, some 1979 D Washington quarters have turned heads in the world of coin collectors and can fetch surprising prices on the current market. Today, we're diving into the story behind the 1979 D Washington quarter dollar coin. We'll look at its origin, what makes it special, how to identify rare and valuable varieties, and how much collectors are willing to pay for them right now. So stick around, this might just be the quarter that changes your luck. Let's start with the basics. The 1979 Washington quarter is part of a coin series that has been around since 1932, originally created to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. By 1979, the Washington quarter was a well-established part of everyday American currency. But in that year, something interesting happened. The 1979 D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint. The D Mint mark can be seen just to the right of Washington's ponytail, near the bottom of the obverse side of the coin. Over 489 million of these coins were minted, which means they are not exactly rare in general circulation. But as with any coin, not all were created equal. There are a few key things that can make a 1979 D quarter highly valuable to collectors. The first is its condition. A coin that has never been circulated, known as mint state, is worth significantly more than one that's been through years of wear and tear. For example, a 1979 D quarter in average circulated condition is typically worth only its face value, 25 cents. But in uncirculated or near-perfect condition, the value can rise steeply. A coin graded MS65 by a professional grading service, which means it is in gem uncirculated condition, can be worth anywhere from $10 to $20. If it's graded MS67 or higher, now we're talking serious money. These high-grade coins are extremely hard to find. A 1979 D Washington quarter graded MS67 can sell for over $100 at auction. And in some cases, coins have even reached prices over $200, but there's more. Error coins are where the real money is. Minting errors can turn an ordinary coin into a unique collector's item. Some 1979 D quarters were struck off-center, double-struck, or even show die cracks. These types of errors are relatively rare and highly desirable. Depending on the error type and its visibility, an error coin can sell for anywhere from $50 to several hundred. One of the most sought-after types of 1979 D quarter errors is the broad strike error. This happens when the coin is struck without the retaining collar that forms its shape. As a result, the coin spreads out more than usual and lacks the reeded edge that most quarters have. Collectors love these types of errors, and prices can easily cross the $100 mark. Another thing to look out for is a full strike. Most 1979 D quarters were struck quickly and with worn dies, so finding one with a sharp, clear strike, where every detail of Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, and the lettering is crisp, makes it more valuable. Let's talk about current market value. As of now, in 2025, the prices of rare and high-grade 1979 D Washington quarters continue to rise. A coin in MS-65 condition might sell for around $15 to $20. MS-66 coins often go for $30 to $50. But when you get into MS-67 territory and beyond, prices can exceed $100, especially if the coin is visually appealing and has no blemishes. The top recorded auction price for a 1979 D Washington quarter in pristine condition stands over $300. That's a serious return on a coin that originally cost just 25 cents. So how do you know if your 1979 D quarter is valuable? First, examine the mint mark. Make sure it's AD for Denver. Then, check the condition. The less wear and more detail, the better. If you suspect it's uncirculated or even an error coin, it's worth getting it professionally graded. Services like PCGS and NGC are trusted names in the grading world. Also, compare your coin to photos of known high-grade examples online. Look at the luster, sharpness of design, and overall quality. If you have a coin with a possible mint error, make sure to check every edge, every letter, and look for anything unusual. Sometimes the most valuable coins are the ones that seem flawed, but in the eyes of a collector, those flaws are treasures. In conclusion, while most 1979 D Washington quarters are still only worth a quarter, the right coin in the right condition or with the right error can be worth hundreds of dollars. So next time you go through your change, keep an eye out for that special coin. You never know, the next big collector's piece might just be sitting in your pocket. If you've ever come across a 1989 P Washington quarter in your change, you might want to take a second look. What appears to be just a regular coin could be a hidden gem worth far more than 25 cents. Today we're diving deep into the world of the 1989 P Washington $quarter coin, a small but fascinating piece of American coinage history that has captured the attention of collectors across the country. In this video, we'll explore its origins, minting details, rare varieties, error coins, and how some of them are fetching thousands of dollars in today's market. Let's begin with a quick background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Originally intended as a one-year commemorative coin, the public loved it so much that it replaced the standing Liberty quarter permanently. The obverse features the profile of George Washington based on a sculpture by Jean-Antoine Houdon, and the reverse until 1998 featured a heraldic eagle, symbolic of strength and freedom. The 1989 P quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark at that time for quarters. The P stands for Philadelphia, and these coins were made of a copper-nickel clad composition, weighing 5.67 grams with a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. Now here's where things get interesting. In 1989, over 512 million quarters were minted in Philadelphia, making this a very common coin in circulation. However, not all 1989 P quarters are created equal. Most are only worth face value in worn condition, but a few rare examples and mint error coins have sold for big money. The value of your coin depends heavily on its condition, rarity, and whether or not it features any minting errors. Coins in average circulated condition are typically worth between 25 cents and $1, but high-grade uncirculated examples, especially those graded MS-66 and above, can be worth significantly more, according to professional coin grading services, such as PCGS and NGC. A 1989 P Washington quarter in mint state condition, specifically MS-67, has sold for as much as $500. Only a small number of these coins are known in this top grade. The finer the condition and the fewer contact marks, the more collectors are willing to pay. Coins with deep, reflective surfaces and sharp details can fetch a premium in auctions and private sales. Let's talk about error coins. These are the real wild cards. Some 1989 P quarters have been found with dramatic errors, like off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets. One notable example is a 1989p quarter struck on a 5-cent planchet, which means it was mistakenly made on the wrong metal blank. This coin, despite being a mistake, sold for several $100s because of its rarity. Another error type is the double die obverse, where elements of the coin's design are doubled due to a misalignment during minting. These are highly collectible and can easily bring in hundreds, if not thousands, depending on the severity and visibility of the error. Then there's the full strike phenomenon. Collectors pay close attention to coins that have what is known as a full strike. That means every detail is sharply defined and nothing is lost due to weak striking pressure. The 1989p quarter is known for having inconsistent strike quality, so those few coins that have a crisp, detailed eagle on the reverse and bold Washington profile on the obverse are much more desirable to collectors. As for the current market value, let's break it down. Most 1989p quarters in circulated condition are still worth only face value. However, uncirculated coins start around $5 to $10, depending on luster and eye appeal. Coins graded MS-66 generally sell between $50 to $100, while MS-67 examples can command prices upwards of $500. Any known errors, especially off-metal strikes or double dies, are usually auctioned off and the value is determined by collector demand. Some extreme examples have brought in well over $1,000. If you're wondering how to check your own 1989p quarter, start by looking for signs of sharp details. Use a magnifying glass to inspect both sides of the coin. Look for any unusual markings, doubling of letters or numbers, or signs that the coin may have been struck on the wrong planchet. If you think you have something rare, your next step is to get it professionally graded. PCGS and NGC are the top two grading services trusted by collectors and dealers alike. A professionally graded coin will not only preserve its condition but also help determine its true market value. So why are collectors so interested in the 1989p quarter now more than ever? The answer lies in rarity, nostalgia, and the unpredictable world of mint errors. As more people begin collecting modern coins and searching their change for treasures, the demand for these lesser-known but valuable varieties continues to rise. It's not just about rare silver dollars or ancient coins anymore. Even a coin minted in 1989, a relatively recent year, can be worth a small fortune under the right circumstances. To wrap it all up, the 1989p Washington quarter may seem ordinary at first glance, but with the right condition or a rare mint error, it can be a surprisingly valuable piece of numismatic history. If you've got a jar of old coins at home, now might be the perfect time to take a closer look. Who knows? That simple quarter in your pocket could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey into coin collecting, the 1989p quarter is a reminder that hidden value can be found in the most unexpected places. We're diving deep into one of the most overlooked but potentially valuable coins in modern American coinage, the 1990D Washington quarter dollar. This might just be the coin sitting in your pocket change that could be worth hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars. Stick around as we uncover the history, hidden rarities, key errors, and current market values of the 1990D quarter that make it a big money sleeper. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been a cornerstone of U.S. coinage since it was first issued in 1932. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the coin was introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Since then, it has undergone many changes, from composition to design updates, but the 1990D quarter falls within a unique historical window. The 1990D quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, indicated by the D mint mark on the coin. That year, over 927 million quarters were struck at Denver, making it a common coin in terms of mintage. However, not all 1990D quarters are created equal. Some carry rare mint errors, and a select few are so well preserved that they fetch high prices among collectors today. To understand what makes a 1990D quarter potentially valuable, you need to know three key factors: condition, rarity, and error types. Let's break each of these down. First, condition. The condition of a coin is typically graded using the Sheldon scale, which runs from 1 to 70. A coin in circulation with heavy wear might be graded around 10 to 20, while a coin that's nearly flawless can score up to 70, known as MS-70 or mint state 70. A 1990D quarter in average circulated condition is worth only its face value, 25 cents. But if you have one that's been kept in pristine condition since the day it was minted, you could be looking at a value of $25, $50, or even more depending on the buyer. In fact, one of the highest graded 1990D quarters known to exist is an MS-67 example. In an auction, this coin sold for nearly $400. And while MS-67 might not sound far from MS-65, the difference in quality at those levels is very difficult to spot with the naked eye but extremely important to professional collectors. That's why coins that are graded and certified by services like PCGS or NGC often sell for a premium. They provide a guarantee of authenticity and quality. Now let's move on to the next big factor, mint errors. These are what truly make ordinary coins extraordinary. Some 1990D quarters have been found with a double die error. This means the coin was struck more than once with a misaligned die, causing a doubling effect on the letters or design elements. This can usually be spotted in the words, Liberty, or, In God We Trust, or in the date. If you find such a coin, you could be holding something worth $50 to several $100 depending on its condition. Another error that collectors go crazy for is off-center strikes. These occur when the blank coin, called a planchet, is not properly aligned during the minting process. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing or off to the side. A 1990D quarter with a dramatic off-center strike, say 50% or more, can easily sell for over $100. There are also coins struck on the wrong planchet. For example, a few rare 1990D quarters have been discovered that were accidentally struck on a 5-cent nickel planchet. These coins are smaller and lighter than standard quarters and are extremely valuable. One such example reportedly sold for over $1,500 at auction, and let's not forget about clipped planchets, another mint error where a part of the coin appears to be cut off in a crescent shape. This happens when the blanking press punches the metal sheet too close to the edge. Clipped planchet quarters from 1990D are rare and could bring in $75 to $300 depending on the extent and appeal of the error. So now you're probably wondering, what's the easiest way to tell if you have a valuable 1990D quarter? Here's a checklist to help you out. First, check the mint mark. Make sure it's a D for Denver. Second, look at the coin's surface and strike. Is it clean, shiny, and free from heavy scratches or wear? The higher the grade, the higher the value. Third, check for errors. Look for any doubling on the letters or numbers. See if the coin is off-center or looks oddly shaped or clipped. And fourth, weigh your coin. A standard quarter from 1990 should weigh 5.67 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, that could indicate it was struck on the wrong planchet, a potential jackpot. Now let's talk current market value. As of today, an average circulated 1990D quarter is still worth only 25 cents. However, a coin in MS-65 condition can sell for between $10 and $20. A certified MS-67 example might bring in $200 to $400. Mint error coins, depending on the type and rarity, can range from $50 to well over $1,000. It's important to note that coin prices fluctuate based on collector interest, precious metal demand, and auction activity. So if you believe you have a rare or high-grade 1990D quarter, your best bet is to get it professionally graded. Grading does cost money, typically $20 to $50 depending on the service, but it could significantly increase the value of your coin and help you sell it to serious buyers. Before we wrap up, let me share a couple of real-world examples of how much these coins have sold for. In 2020, a 1990D quarter graded MS-67 by PCGS sold at auction $4,396. In another case, a double-die 1990D quarter with light circulation were sold for over $200 because of the rarity of the error, and a spectacular off-center strike coin, a 1990D quarter where only 50% of the design was visible, brought in nearly $500 at an online auction. So next time you check your change or go through your coin jar, take a closer look at those quarters. That 1990D coin you've ignored for years might be your ticket to a small fortune, and there you have it, the full story of the 1990D Washington quarter. A coin that's often overlooked but holds some amazing surprises for collectors and treasure hunters. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual enthusiast, always keep your eyes open. You never know when big money is hiding in plain sight. We take a deep dive into one of the most interesting and potentially valuable coins in modern American coinage, the 1995 D Washington quarter dollar. If you have one of these in your pocket change or coin collection, you might be sitting on a small fortune. So stick with us to the end as we uncover everything you need to know about this coin, including its history, varieties, errors, and how much it could be worth today. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It replaced the standing Liberty quarter and has remained a staple of U.S. coinage ever since. Over the years, the design has seen changes, especially starting with the state quarters program in 1999, but the 1995 D quarter still features the classic eagle reverse and the Washington bust obverse that defined the series for decades. The 1995 D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark on the front of the coin, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. In total, the Denver Mint produced over 1.1 billion of these quarters in 1995. That's right, more than a billion coins. So naturally, most examples are common. But as we'll explain, some rare variations and high-grade examples are worth serious money. Now let's talk value. In circulated condition, like the kind you might find in your change, a 1995 D Washington quarter is typically worth its face value, 25 cents. But when you get into mint state condition, especially at higher grades like MS 65 or above, the value begins to rise quickly. A certified MS 65 example can sell for between $10 and $25, depending on eye appeal and luster. That might not sound like a lot, but for a modern coin from pocket change, it's impressive. Go even higher, and the numbers become more eye-popping. A 1995 D quarter graded MS 67 or MS 68 by a top grading service like PCGS or NGC can fetch over $200. And we're not done yet. In fact, one of the highest known grades, an MS 68 example, has sold at auction for over $1,000. Yes, that's $1,000 for a single quarter. If it meets that nearly perfect condition, why is there such a jump in price at the higher grades? It all comes down to rarity at the top. Even though over a billion were minted, very few have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition with flawless surfaces. That's what collectors are looking for, the best of the best, but it's not just high grades that can make the 1995 D quarter valuable. Error coins and die varieties also command high premiums. Some examples of errors that exist for this year include off-center strikes, broad strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets. A dramatic off-center strike, where part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't centered properly during striking, can be worth anywhere from $50 to $200, depending on severity. Double die errors are particularly sought after, especially if the doubling is visible to the naked eye. While there is no widely known major double die variety for the 1995 D quarter, collectors still examine their coins closely just in case. And minor die clashes or misaligned dies can still fetch premiums of $20 to $50 or more. So what should you be looking for if you want to find a valuable 1995 D quarter? First, check the coin's condition. Coins with no wear, sharp detail, and full luster are considered uncirculated and can be worth grading. Second, examine the coin carefully under good lighting. Look for any doubling on the letters, numbers, or devices. Check both sides of the coin for any signs of striking errors. Third, consider having promising finds graded by a reputable service. This can boost value significantly if the grade is high. Now let's talk about the current market in 2025. The demand for high-quality Washington quarters is on the rise. As more collectors seek to build complete sets in high grade, competition for coins like the 1995 D and MS 67 or better is heating up. Online marketplaces like eBay, Heritage Auctions, and Great Collections have seen strong prices in recent months, with top examples consistently selling above $300. Even raw, Ungraded examples that appear flawless can bring in bids of $50 to $100 or more. There's also growing interest from newer collectors who are drawn to coins from the 1990s, a decade that's now considered vintage by younger generations. That's helping to drive up interest in coins like the 1995 D quarter, especially in high condition or with unusual features. If you're just getting started, one of the best ways to search for these coins is by checking rolls of quarters from the bank or coin dealers. You'd be surprised how often uncirculated examples slip through the cracks. Always handle potential high-grade coins by the edges and store them in protective holders to preserve their condition. In summary, the 1995 D Washington quarter may be common in circulated form, but don't let that fool you. In top condition or with certain errors, it can be worth much more than face value, sometimes hundreds or even over $1,000. It's a perfect example of how modern coins can still hold hidden treasures for collectors willing to look a little closer. So the next time you get change back at the store, take a moment to check your quarters. You never know, that shiny 1995 D might just be your lucky coin. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more in-depth coin videos, historical breakdowns, and updates on coin values you won't want to miss. Today, we're diving deep into a modern but fascinating piece of American coinage history, the 1997 P. Washington quarter dollar. While at first glance it might look like just another pocket change quarter, some of these coins are turning heads in the numismatic community. And yes, some are worth serious money. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know everything there is to know about the 1997 P quarter, its background, minting details, rare varieties, and what makes certain ones highly valuable today. Let's begin with the basics. The 1997 P. Washington quarter was minted in Philadelphia, as indicated by the P mint mark just above the date on the obverse side of the coin. Over 595 million of these quarters were produced, so at first glance, you might think they're common, and for the most part, you'd be right. But as with most modern coins, it's not just about how many were made. It's about how many survive in top condition or with special errors and varieties. The obverse of the coin features the iconic portrait of George Washington, originally sculpted by John Flanagan back in 1932, the year the Washington quarter was first issued to honor the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth. The reverse of the 1997 version still shows the classic heraldic eagle design, perched proudly with outstretched wings, arrows in its talons, and olive branches beneath. This reverse design remained in place until the state quarters program launched in 1999, making the 1997 issue one of the final years of the classic eagle design, a factor that collectors now look back on with increasing appreciation. Now, let's talk value. If you pull a worn 1997 P quarter out of your pocket or coin jar, chances are it's worth face value, 25 cents. But if you happen to have a high-grade example, especially one graded MS67 or better by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, you're looking at a whole different story. High-grade 1997 P quarters are hard to come by. The vast majority went into circulation and have been banged up over the years. But those that remain in pristine, mint state condition are rare and valuable. For example, in recent years, an MS67 graded 1997 P quarter has sold at auction for as much as $1,500. That's right, over $1,000 for a coin you might have spent on a soda years ago, but it doesn't stop there. Error coins from this year can fetch even more. Let's go over some of the most sought-after 1997 P quarter errors and varieties. First, the double die obverse. This variety is identified by doubling in the lettering around Washington's profile, most noticeably in the word liberty and in the motto "In God We Trust." Though not widely publicized, a few of these have surfaced and caught the attention of serious collectors. If verified by a grading service, a double die example can fetch hundreds or even thousands depending on condition. Next up, off-center strikes. These occur when the coin isn't properly aligned during the striking process. A 1997 P quarter with an off-center error that still shows a full date and mint mark can bring in big money, sometimes up to $500 or more. Then there are coins struck on the wrong planchet. Every now and then, a quarter might accidentally be struck on a dime planchet or even a foreign coin blank. These rare errors are highly desirable and have been known to sell for thousands of dollars when authenticated. Let's not forget full strike and proof-like examples. While proof coins weren't struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1997, some exceptionally well-struck business strikes have a proof-like shine, mirror-like surfaces with frosty devices. These types of coins, when discovered, become top registry set contenders and command a premium price at auction. So how do you know if your 1997 P quarter is worth big money? Start by checking the condition. If your coin looks nearly flawless with no visible wear and has sharp details and a strong strike, it might be worth sending to a professional grading service. Look for any doubling, misalignments, or unusual planchets. Use a jeweler's loupe or a digital microscope to spot small details that could turn your quarter from a 25-cent coin into a valuable collectible. Now let's talk about current market trends. As of 2025, the market for high-grade modern coins continues to grow. Younger collectors are entering the hobby and looking for coins from the late 20th century, coins they remember from their childhood or have seen in their pocket change. Because of this, prices for coins like the 1997 P quarter in high grades or with rare errors are on the rise. Auction houses and online marketplaces like eBay have seen consistent bidding activity on these coins, especially those certified by reputable grading companies. Even if your coin isn't a rare error or ultra-high grade, it could still be valuable to the right buyer, especially if it's uncirculated or part of a complete roll. Collectors looking to build date and mint sets are willing to pay a premium for bright, lustrous examples with no scratches or dings. To wrap up, the 1997 P Washington quarter dollar might not seem special at first glance, but it's a coin with a rich background, transitional importance, and serious potential for value, especially if you have the right variety or quality. Keep checking your change, inspect those old coin rolls, and if you spot one in great shape, don't spend it, protect it. We are diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1998 D Washington quarter dollar coin. This particular coin, minted in Denver in 1998, may seem like just another quarter to most people, but as many of you know, in the world of numismatics, even the most ordinary looking coins can turn out to be extremely valuable depending on a range of factors including condition, mint errors, demand, and historical context. Let us begin with a bit of background on the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It replaced the standing Liberty quarter and has since become one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. The original obverse design featuring a bust of George Washington was created by John Flanagan and has been used in various forms ever since. By 1998, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for over 6 decades, and the coin from that year represents the final issue before the launch of the 50-state quarters program, which began in 1999. This makes the 1998 series, including the 1998 D quarter, a kind of end-of-an-era piece for collectors. It is the last of the classic Washington quarters before the massive redesigns that brought renewed attention to U.S. coinage. Now, when we talk about the 1998 D quarter specifically, we are referring to the coin minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small d mint mark on the obverse side just to the right of Washington's ponytail. According to the U.S. Mint, over 821 million of these coins were struck in Denver alone, which would suggest that they are common and not especially valuable. However, as we will see in the world of coin collecting, rarity is just one factor. Value also depends heavily on condition, strike quality, mint errors, and collector demand. So let us talk value first and foremost. If you have a standard 1998 D Washington quarter in circulated condition, meaning it has visible signs of wear from use in pocket change, its value is usually just 25 cents. That is its face value, and in most cases these coins are not worth more than that. However, things start to get interesting when we examine uncirculated examples and rare varieties. If you are lucky enough to own a 1998 D quarter in uncirculated condition with a high mint state grade from a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC, then you might have something worth holding on to. Coins graded MS65 and above can be worth several dollars, while exceptional examples graded MS67 or higher can reach values of $25 to $50 and sometimes even more if the coin has eye appeal, strong luster, and a clean surface with no contact marks. But here is where things get really exciting: mint errors. The real money is in rare and dramatic errors that occurred during the minting process. There have been verified 1998 D quarters with striking errors such as off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, double dies, and even some that were struck on the wrong planchet. These Error coins are extremely collectible and can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error. One of the most valuable varieties of the 1998 D Washington quarter is the off-metal error, where the quarter was struck on a planchet intended for another denomination such as a nickel or a foreign coin. In some cases these mistake coins have sold at auction for over $1,000. A 1998 D quarter struck on a 5-cent planchet, for example, will be smaller than a regular quarter and weigh less than the standard 567 grams, making it a rare and intriguing find. There are also double die varieties, though less common for this year, which show doubling in the letters or numbers on the coin. A double die obverse or reverse can drastically increase the value of a coin if the doubling is strong and easily visible without magnification. These types of errors are always in demand among collectors because they offer a clear and dramatic visual difference from the standard issue coin. Now let us look at the current market as of 2025. The price for a pristine 1998 D quarter in top uncirculated condition continues to hold strong thanks to the historical significance of this being the final year before the state quarters program. Many collectors are looking to complete date runs of the Washington Quarter Series, and the 1998 D is an essential part of that set. Additionally, the increasing interest in modern error coins means that rare 1998 D errors are gaining attention and selling for premium prices at auctions and private sales. Auction records from the past few years show that the highest prices for 1998 D quarters have come from coins with major errors and high grades. In one example, a 1998 D quarter graded MS-68 with exceptional strike and luster sold for over $200. Meanwhile, a rare off-center strike with more than 50% of the design missing and no date visible still fetched close to $400. Due to its dramatic appearance, collectors and investors alike should pay close attention to their pocket change or unsearched rolls of quarters from banks, because these hidden treasures do exist. The key is knowing what to look for. Condition is king in coin collecting, so finding a near-perfect example is always worthwhile, but combining high grade with a rare mint error is where the true jackpot lies. Before we wrap up, here are a few tips for anyone hunting for valuable 1998 D quarters. Always examine the coin under good lighting and preferably with magnification. Look for sharp details and full strikes, particularly around Washington's hair, the word Liberty, and the eagle's wings on the reverse. If you see doubling, odd shapes, cracks, or missing parts of the design, it could be a valuable error. Keep an eye on weight as well. A standard quarter weighs 567 grams, so anything significantly under or over might be an off-metal strike. And finally, consider getting potentially valuable coins graded and authenticated by a reputable third-party grading service. Not only does this protect the coin, but it also gives you a certified value that can make selling much easier in the collector market. So there you have it. The 1998 D Washington quarter dollar coin may seem common at first glance, but in the right condition or with the right mint error, it can be worth big money. Whether you are a seasoned collector or a casual hobbyist, this is one coin that deserves a closer look. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more deep dives into the world of rare and valuable coins.